pass or whatever.
You're really fast. You know,
Huh?
I can't really. No, I only feel kind of bad that I wasn't able to contribute a little more to this district, Warren, in the short time I've been able to stay with you. But hopefully you'll be able to look back a few months down the pike and feel that the company made the right move in bringing me from God's country down to here. But I do want to thank you for the contribution you've made to my growth, and wish you the best in your new endeavor.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Warren did mention you favorably. He said the air was nice and clean in the meeting room. You didn't light up till 3:15 today. He appreciated that.
I think the guys really owe you one, Bob, on that. No, really, yeah.
Okay.
It was a new all-time low. Don Schaefer.
You know, you're talking about time, and I've had the good pleasure of, I'm going to put my flower jet on so everybody can feel at home.
Is that paid for?
Oh,
Yeah, okay, all right.
He just read the ethics.
That's right, read the ethics program, okay. Yeah, that was past the comment, Don, listen to the comment.
Yeah, that was right after that.
Yeah.
The nominal value there.
Yeah.
I've had the good pleasure of actually probably knowing of Warren Wilkin longer than anybody here, because I started with the Penney Company in 1951 in Butler, Pennsylvania, and Warren was the assistant in Butler, Pennsylvania in 1951. He didn't stay there long. He was one of these real sharp guys, and I can remember he could spit out the lot numbers on, you know, half the merchandise in the store. But anyway, we kind of had a lapse of time there, and then probably the best thing that ever has happened to me in the Penney Company is that I have had the pleasure to work with Warren again in the Voorhees store. Since we've both getting a little bit of age on, and that 51 does go back a ways there, you know, Warren.
Yes, that's right.
The other day I was reading a book on vitamins. You know, whenever you start to hit your 40s, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at the vitamin program. And
Won't do you good.
won't do you any good, Bill. Actually, you're going to be in a period of adjustment here, and I think I heard you say tonight that you're going to go into New York in March, and you're used to the vitality of being in the stores, you know, and
Sure am.
and working with the associates, and you're going to miss that for a little time here. I know you'll try to spend as much time there.
About 2 hours.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I saw this article here, and it says this particular vitamin, and it says it's got great healing powers, and it helps all the senses, your sight and smell and taste, and it helps keep you happy, and really helps keep your genes, you're outgoing socially, and not that you need any of this, but you might, you know,
Yeah.
in the later years here, Warren. So, and then the last thing on this, it said when your sex drive is in gear, zinc may be in your transmission fluid. So I just got you a bottle of zinc tablets here, Warren, and the minimum daily requirement there is 15 mgs. This is 10. So you got to do a little bit of eating, you know, beside this. I know you like to eat, but that's the one thing here.
Fantastic.
And I've got a couple other
Yeah,
ones.
let's see what that says.
The other one, Warren, in our store for some reason or other, and I don't know, he's just having a tough time getting the message across to the manager, but we've gone through our stock room several times when Warren was in the store, and really the lines aren't clean. So, Warren, we came up with a formula, and we thought this might help you. And actually, we've got it headed up stockroom scheduling worksheet. And the way this thing works, Warren, if you just get this message across to the stores when you go in, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you take a carton count. And you list that on this sheet here. And then you multiply times $130.
All right.
See? Then you get that total.
Right.
And then you divide by $750. Now that figure may go up with you being...
I was going to say, that's low. That's low.
This is February.
Oh, that's low.
So anyway, you divide by the 750, and then that gives you the hours that you need for tomorrow. And if you just work this program, The stock room will be clean. Now, I just wanted to bring that to you. That's all you gotta give these guys in the store, man. And they'll work the program.
Fantastic. I
Okay,
guess
so-
I've written that down too.
You mean you don't want to copy that?
I'm with you. I'll get that out tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, tomorrow morning we'll get that out.
That'll really start your new job with a bang. You can just send it out to all the stores.
Fantastic.
And the other thing that I've got, we know that talking about these vitamins and, you know, on your trips home at night. Now, tonight, I don't know, you had some cheesecake. I wanted to present you with this also. And what we've got here, this is a 1/4 pound of cashews, Warren. At least
Fantastic.
that's what you buy in our store,
That's
1/4
right.
pound.
Geez, I
And
remember, I
this
gotta
is a
reduce
1/4
my
pound of M&M's with nuts. Best of luck to you, Warren.
Thanks, Don. Fantastic.
That'll get you home tonight.
That'll get me all on the road and home without any problem. That's great.
One of the
Two
bright,
great foods.
one of the bright shining lights, Mr. Johnson, just insisted that he, you know, Bill,
Well, you know, I heard a lot about you before I come down here, and you're really a good guy. But
Must
I
have listened to
talked,
Earl Dean.
no, I talked to a
Talked to
fellow
his
the other
mother?
day who kind of put a question mark in my mind, a guy named Warren Christensen. And, it seems that you were working out of the Cincinnati district office, and one day you and Warren decided that you'd make a trip up to Mansfield. And, you picked him up in your big Cadillac, about half a mile long, I understand, and got about halfway down the road, and for some reason you reached in your back pocket, and you hear you'd forgotten your wallet. So Warren lent you, I guess, $20, $30 to get you by. So you worked Mansfield all day diligently, and I think you met Russ up there, and you met somebody else. So the four of you headed to the Holiday Inn, where supposedly you had reservations, and you sauntered up to the desk, you know, big district manager that you are, and said, "I'm Warren Wilkin, district manager for J.C. Penney. I believe there's a room reserved for me." Little girl at the desk said, "Well, do you have any identification?" "Well, no, I forgot my wallet." "Well, I'm sorry, but we don't have a room for you if you don't have any identification."
is this right?
So you, to hear the guys were standing back here, and they were vouching for, "Oh yeah, he's Mr. Wilkin, he's district manager for the J.C. Penney Company," and you were getting a little aggravated, so you asked for the manager. So this little guy sauntered out of his office, and you proceeded to tell him who you were, and he said, "Well, if you don't have identification, you can't stay here." Well, you said, "Well, look, I know so-and-so, there's a big wheel at Holiday Inn, and I know this guy." No way were they going to let you stay there. So, needless to say, your troops figured that, well, if the boss can't stay there, neither can we. Well, it so ends up that the only place he could get into was a motel that rented by the hour. And apparently you got a room, and there was a big pothole in front of your door or something, and all night long, boom, every time the car went over. So I guess your character is not as lily white as you'd like people to think, right? I bet you've never forgotten your wallet since then.
No, I haven't, Bill. That's a true story. And that story about the road out by that room, the room was right on the highway, and it was, I guess, in wintertime, and those trucks, it was trucks just hitting that thing all night long, booming, and I tell you, it just jarred the room. I've never put in a night like that in all my life. That was an unusual thing. That gal at the desk, the rule was, of course, you had to have identification. Never before when I went in there had I ever given identification. But this gal that night wanted identification. I don't remember whether the rest was there or not, but she would not take anybody's word for it, and sure enough, somebody else came out of the woodwork and said, no, unless you have identification. And I was going to pay for the room. You know, here's my money. I even had a check with me, but because I didn't have identification, they wouldn't let me stay that night in that motel. So you get humble real quick. You know, I mean that really was a rather humbling
I thought that
experience,
was an
because
interesting story.
it was, and you know, really the store had made the arrangement. I said, well, you know, so and so manager of the store, or, you know, will vouch for the room, and the J.C. Penney Company will pay for it if there's anything wrong with it. No way. I mean, she would not listen to us on that room. Yeah, that was That was a true story, and that night was a hairy night. I want you to know, by the time we got in the sack and found rooms, and of course we were finding, not only for me, but there were 3 or 4 of us, so we were trying to find some place that had 3 or 4 rooms.
Well, Warren sends his best, and I certainly wish you all the luck in the
Thanks,
world
Bill.
with the new assignment.
Appreciate it. Right on.
Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, I haven't talked to Warren for a while. I'm glad to hear from him. Jack, great guy.
Well, Warren, it's been a short period of time, our association here, but I've certainly enjoyed it very much. But Warren and I go back, I guess, 1953, in the, let's say, the infamous days of the Upper Darby. We call it it wasn't really the Penney Company in those days, was it? We used to go outside every once in a while. We worked for Wayne Beeler now. If anybody ever know Wayne Beeler, you'll understand what we're going to discuss here. But it certainly wasn't the Penney Company. But we worked pretty damn hard, didn't we, Warren?
Yep.
No such thing as ours. And
No.
you'd have to go out and check the sign every day to see if it was the Penney Company we were involved with.
There weren't any P brakes there either, Jack.
That's right, that's right. But I will say this, and I told Warren, we didn't have too many laughs in the store, did we?
No.
Warren? Not too many. Trying to keep ahead of old Beeler coming out of the Legion there, half loaded.
Yeah.
But Warren did
Loaded
keep
to go.
us together in those days. But he made it pretty damn rough on you, Warren.
Yeah.
Oh, Wayne, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
we admired you. We often talk about some of the guys that went through those days in Upper Darby. Warren had one saying, I haven't heard it since I've been here, Warren, but you always use the expression, there's no job too big for a good penny man.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that one in
Yeah.
years, Warren.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
I know this next assignment will be a good one for you. And all the best of luck in the world, Warren.
Thanks, Jack. Sure good to see you again. I'll be a partner again.
Well, like Jack, I hadn't worked with Warren. In fact, I didn't have the pleasure of working with you before, so this is my first experience. I guess, in a sense, it's good that you're leaving for Pittsburgh, because I kind of question your ability in the personnel area. You told me that this fellow that I have in the men's department would make a good operations manager, and I found out today that he doesn't give a damn about shrinkage. Because I called him and I said, Bob, I said, you gave me 2 Flyers jackets, and I had them in the car, and somebody stole them. And he said, so what?
That means lousy personnel, lousy merchandise. Oh, that's pretty good.
I wish you the best of luck, and I bring you best wishes from the people in our store, Warren. They know you, and have appreciated the time that you've been in the district and the time you've been in the store. So they wish you the best of luck, too. And those people need you too.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that.
Jim Rush, we've come to your, Jim?
While Jim's getting started, I just want to ask you one more test. You know, your memory is legendary, boss, and I believe if you just sit for a minute, you could remember the lot number on Coates and Clark 200-yard blue. Can you?
You know, it's interesting that you mention that, because I guess you remember what you want to remember. And I think that's true. I think you really do. I think if you really want to remember things, you can remember them. And Don Bostic ran into the office the other day, and he said, got a hot number in curtains. I said, yeah, it's whispering, it's lot number 1785. What else you got, Don? And he about dropped off his chair, because he thought he had a hot new number in curtains that he was going to tell me about. He said, how in the heck did you find out what that doggone curtain was? And I said, one very simple way. I talk to Penney people. And you know, when you talk to Penney people, you find out things. And you know, then you make it a point to remember Penney people and associate them with the things that you're dealing with. And I've always tried to make it a point to really remember Penney people. That's one thing I do work at, the people themselves, you know, and to try to remember their names and associate them with things. And then right along with that, the merchandise or the things that go along with it. And I guess somewhere along the line, you get excited about this business, you do remember some of those numbers as you go along. What was the number of button over the shoulder underwear, 4210?
Close.
I only go back 20 years.
Oh, you only go back.
That's right.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
DVD, similar to
yeah.
DVD.
1005.
Yeah, similar to DVD,
1005,
not
the one
DVD.
number, yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
D10 and L12, a few of the.
Those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are, but you know, that's, you're really making a point. I always, and I said this to several young men in penny stores in my visits, and that is that a merchandise manager in a penny store, somewhere along the line, has to be good enough to know the rate of sale of every piece of merchandise in his department. And I believe that. I think if a guy really works at that and really wants to succeed in our company and be a good merchant, he ought to be good enough to know what's going on in his department and really learn the rate of sale of his merchandise. That's what our business is all about.
You know, one of the things I remember, I started in Galleon in 1955, and Andy Cummings was a DM. And in those days, it seemed to me the only way to impress the DM was to know exactly what you said. He'd pick up a shirt, and you'd have to know the lot number and how it was selling. And we knew that. At least I tried to know it on every item in the department. And that was really, he didn't have a written appraisal or anything else. He appraised you based on, you know, how you handled yourself and what your merchandise knowledge was when he spoke with you.
Right.
And I don't think times have changed that much. I think maybe our attitude towards things like that have changed. But there's sure nothing wrong with that.
Got a little
That's right.
sophisticated.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Did you work for Max?
Yes.
Yeah, Max and I worked together in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, 1941, 1942.
Yeah, he's still in Galleon. He retired.
Yeah, Max, I went up to see him just before he retired. When I was in Columbus, he retired when I was in Columbus, and I drove up, spent a day with he and his wife just before he retired. I hadn't seen him for years, and I knew he was retiring, so I went into Galleon to see Max. Max was a very energetic young man, and certainly was a fine guy.
Yeah, I think he almost burned himself out a couple times, didn't he? I think he was in Stroudsburg and he had
Yeah.
a couple nervous breakdowns.
I was in Upper Darby when he did that, and we went up from Upper Darby, and he got all screwed up with his, as you say, burned himself out, and he got a lot of merchandise on him. We took a lot of merchandise out of his store and brought it to Upper Darby and sort of got the inventory straightened around, and he's got straightened around.
Yeah.
Good, awful, fine guy though, good, had a lot of good times with Max.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Jim?
Thank you. We, as Brutus said to Cassius,
Uh-oh.
Who's that?
came here to bury Caesar, not to praise him.
Oh,
So before I bury him, I do want to praise him just a little bit. In '73, I got my first store. At that time, I had just gone through a divorce, a remarriage, wound up in Cleveland Clinic with a heart catheterization, a potential serious problem with that respect. I went to a new store where that had been, as he said, one of the best in the country, and I'd be very lucky if I could hold that. At the same time that we went with there, I was called into the regional office to explain why the Canton audit was so the shrinkage was terrific, but the violations were horrible. And naturally, I wasn't there, so they rightfully blamed it on me. The thing, and he said he was in the store for a check-in at the time, which was the only time he talked to me the first year. But he said, "Okay, Jim," said, "you're going in there. You have to be in there Monday morning," and said, "That's your past." And said, "Now this is your future, and you level with them, and we'll take it from there." And on a serious note, we have taken it from there, and I owe whatever success I have today as a manager to this guy right here. Now, that's enough of that.
yeah.
But I have a letter that I received. I told this lady that we were going to honor you a little bit, or whatever. And this is to you, so I'll give it to you later.
Okay.
Dear Mr. Wilkin, it's a real pleasure for me to be able to congratulate you on your promotion to the steel tower. My, how I wish I could be with you. Since we started together so long ago and continued our beautiful relationship for so many years, I've thought of you so often, and it's a real pleasure to know that even though you haven't seen me in years, you continue to refer to me in every one of your district meetings. Yes, I hear that you even mention my name in a lot of your store visitations. And always when you have a special job to do, one that has to be done just right. Gosh, I remember how much fun we used to have with those old merchandise guidebooks. Mercy, wasn't it great knowing just exactly how old F11, lot number 1257 sold in size 10.5 D? You remember that shoe, don't you, Warnie? That was the one. That was the one with the blucher front, the moccasin toe, and those big thin synthetic rubber flexed-old soles. Remember how you predicted that synthetic rubber would never stay? By now you probably know who this is writing to you, particularly since I called you by your cute little pet name. If not, maybe you'll remember when I followed you from Newcastle to Butler, and then went with you to Louisville. I was with you some in Upper Darby, but it was in Germantown and Eastover where you and I had our most action. In 1964, when you became a district manager, we had to part. However, I continued to carry on the traditions of your ideals as long as I could. Even though you continued to talk about me and mention my name, you must know I'm not still around. In fact, it's mostly your fault that I'm still not around. You and that newfangled machine they call a POS. I'd just like to see how that thing could do for you what I used to do for you, remember? Well, by now you know I'm Susie. You know, I'm the one you always tell, have Susie get you a count by size and color. Have Susie keep that table filled in with the right sizes and colors. Just sit down with Susie and go over that assortment plan when it comes in. Get Susie to do it. Just let Susie do it. But Warnie, honey, don't you know there ain't no Susies around anymore? You wiped me out when the minimum wage went from $1.15 to $1.30. But gosh, isn't it great to remember and just go on pretending I'm still there? Anyway, Warnie, best wishes in your new assignment. I wonder what new programs you're going to develop for me in your new position. Isn't it exciting to think a stock sheet for every position? Every function. Love, Susie. The purpose of getting here tonight was we were really going to try to come up with about the 10 best ideas you ever had for the store.
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah. That was tough though, wasn't it?
But this, we have something that I put together here in the form of, I guess it would be a checkout or a bestseller. One of the best ideas he's had in this district has been the J.C. Penney District 8117 Custom Made Comfort Program.
Another one.
The first shipment we got in was 120 pieces. The cost of it was $17. The retail was $29.88. The markup was 43%. Total sales, 0. We marked down 120 units to $24.88. Total sales, 2. $49.76. That left us 118 units, which we repriced to $15.88. Total sales of this shipment, 118 units, $1,873.84. Second shipment we got was 72 pieces. We sold this entire shipment without a markdown. At a cost of $17, we checked them in at $15.88.
Can't do that.
To date, we've received 192 units at a total cost of $3,264. To date, we've sold 192 units at a total retail of $3,017.81, so we've only lost $246.19 on this program. Now, if any of you in this room are not on this program, I'd suggest you talk to Mr. Wilkin fast before he gets away. It's my understanding there's 72 more additional pieces coming very soon, and we'll share them with you if you've not already signed up. Now, here's the deal. Due to the tremendous success of this program, there is now a distribution plan for custom-made quilts, custom-made bedspreads, custom-made car seat covers, and custom-made table napkins. In order to make use of the batting scraps that they use to make these things, he's had the team seek out a source of somebody can use them, and they have contacted the makers of Stay Free maxi pads. Well, let's not forget that